It's not a new issue. It's not new to the world. It is certainly not new to America. Yet something about this year, its turbulence, its challenges, and the racial divide seem even more divided. I'm Andrea Oliver, and on this edition of Lakeland Now in View, we hope to have a strong yet lively conversation about racial issues and racial inequality. And we trust that at the end of it, you'd have garnered something, you'd have gained something that will be helpful as we move forward in this season. I am Andrea Oliver, and I am so excited on this episode of Lakeland Now in View to invite Chanique Davis to our little setup here. And I have to tell you that Sean reminds me so much of my younger self. She is a teacher, a musician. She is a certified women's counselor and an artist whose art has somehow take center stage locally in the racial conversation, the conversation for racial equality, and the movement that we're seeing currently going on, not only locally, but in America. Chanique Davis, welcome to Lakeland Now in View. I listened to a conversation that you were having, a presentation that you were making at a rally on racial equality. And you said something that so struck me. You said, this that we're facing right now, this issue, is not a partisan issue. It's not about Republican. It's not about Democrat. It's a human rights issue. Explain what you meant.
Definitely. You know, what I have seen during this recent civil rights movement is I've seen people that have been taking the side of Republican or Democrat, and it's lacking empathy. It's lacking humanity. It's lacking the basic heart behind caring for someone who is in need or who is struggling. You know, these issues that are happening recently with Black lives, it's a human issue. You know, it's not a matter of Republican or Democrat. It's a matter of humanity and caring for, these are lives, you know,
Yes.
caring for souls, caring for these individuals.
I know, as I said, this is not new. We have dealt, I mean, we have the civil rights movement prior to the civil rights movement and post civil rights. And we've had these issues. And specifically, we're talking today about what happens here in America. But this year has been pivotal. And what has been encouraging to me is the people who are having these conversations. How important are these conversations in this season?
Oh, these conversations are so important. I think that when we're talking about racial reconciliation, these are the types of conversations that have to be had in order to reach that place of healing. You know, it's the hard conversations that we need to bring to the table and sit down and talk about. Because I think that the divide comes in each other not knowing the situation, not knowing your brother's struggle,
Yes.
not knowing, you know, not having a personal connection to the issue. When you sit down and talk with someone that is experiencing it face to face every day, it can change your perspective, you know, and so these kind of conversations that need to be had are the conversations that do perpetuate and push racial equality.
I once read something. It says that you will never be able to heal what you won't look at.
Yes.
And I do believe that in a large sense, and this is my personal belief, that this particular issue has had such a hard time reconciling because I don't think we want to, we've refrained from having those strong, hard conversations that will cause that healing to take place. What has been some of the things that have caused you, in your perspective, the resistance, and how must we hold that conversation so that we can actually hear each other?
Well, I think one of the biggest ways to seek racial reconciliation, the first thing that anyone should do on that journey of being a part of this change and this racial reconciliation is awareness and recognition. You know, you have to be aware of the issues, but then you have to recognize that these are actual issues. I think what has caused the divide is that there are people still denying the validity of these issues. There are individuals still saying that this is not true, what's happening, just because it's not a personal experience. Or there are individuals who are saying, you know, this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that when we're seeking racial reconciliation, just like in any type of relationship where reconciliation is needed, we have to first address the issue. We have to first address what's causing the problem.
Yes.
Bringing awareness to oneself, and recognizing that this is what is happening and not trying to pretend it away is the first step in racial reconciliation. Until we can address that,
we won't get anywhere. Chanique Davis is our guest today on Lakeland Now in View. And Sean, you call yourself an advocate. And as I mentioned, one of the things that I know that has kind of propelled you into the forefront has been your art. And I remember seeing that piece that you did, and it portrayed a child, a little young Black baby in a crib. Tell me about the inspiration and what was the message that you were trying to portray with this piece of art?
Definitely. The picture is a baby in a crib, and it's a Black mother, praying over the crib. And there is a modem above the baby with that has a globe at the top, and there's 3 attachments to it. One is a gun, one is a Skittles pack, and the other one is handcuffs. And first of all, when you see a baby, you automatically think innocence, no matter what color they are.
Right.
However, here we have a young Black baby, and there he is presented with a gun, a pack of Skittles, and handcuffs. To me, what I was trying to say is that this is what the world gives a young Black boy. These are his choices, and all of them have represented death in the Black community, whether it was the gun representing gun violence or representing being shot by police officers, or whether it's handcuffs representing incarceration, or whether it's a pack of Skittles that simply represents innocence as a child, however, still ended up in death for Trayvon Martin. What the world has to offer a young Black boy is that you are a suspect from the moment you were born because of the color of your skin. And so the inspiration is just the hurt, the heaviness a Black mother has to experience during these racially stimulating times, seeing the deaths of countless African-American people on the news almost on a daily basis. It's the heaviness that a mother has to deal with when she's just birthed this baby that's innocent. But what the world gives to him is, these are your choices. Your choices, either this gun, which could represent death, or could represent gun violence, gang involvement because of, the environment that they're required to, or forced to live in, these Skittles, I use the Skittles as a reference to, Trayvon Martin, but to me, that represents the innocence of a child,
Yes.
Just being a child
and
still,
going to get some candy.
And still you end up dead.
Yeah. You're a Black mom. I'm a Black mom raising Black sons.
Correct.
And yes, the onus is on us, and the burden as well, to share that this is a society, share that there possibly are going to be some challenges just by virtue of the fact that you are, or the color of your skin. I know recently you had to have that conversation with your 6-year-old. How was that like, and what did it do to your heart?
It was really hard because I wanted to, as a mother and as a parent, any parent wants to protect their child, from anything that would harm them or hurt them. And so as a mom, it was very difficult for me to have the conversation with my son that there are individuals that will devalue you because of the color of your skin. I explained to him, the importance of him not being that type of individual.
Right.
But I explained to him that there are individuals who are out there like that. And so it was kind of hard. I had to balance between giving him all that I needed to say to him and stuff that he wasn't
for a 6-year-old mind to be
things
able to perceive.
Correct. Things that he wasn't ready to hear yet. So it was, kind of tough. And I know it's, unfortunately, for a Black mother, the reality is it's just the first of many conversations.
Yes. You talked when we started this conversation about how important it is to hold conversations, and to hold conversations, I call them meaningful conversations, where we're hearing every side of the issue. To me, that has been a pivotal place. It's also been the problem, I believe, in not being able to hear each side. Is there, how are we posturing ourselves? What do we need to do so we can hear every side of the story?
Outside of awareness and reconciliation, or awareness and recognition, I think that another step in pursuing racial reconciliation is immersion. relationships.
Yes, absolutely.
What I mean by that is when you can actually come into a relationship with someone who's different than you, see their life, you will recognize and be able to see that their life is completely different than yours. And so you can immerse yourself into that type of situation, and it only happens within the context of relationship.
Absolutely.
Then it's very difficult for you to see that these are issues, especially when these issues don't affect you.
So there have been some buzzwords, and some of them have not been so easy to tolerate. I don't know that they were initially meant to be words that would cause friction, but for some reason they've emerged as words that are a little iffy for some people. So let's take Black Lives Matter. Let's start there. What is the conversation that needs to happen where that word is concerned, that statement is concerned, so it can be received?
Yeah. To me, the statement Black Lives Matter simply means Black people deserve to live too. I've been recently thinking about somehow creating some sort of hashtag to kind of push that narrative, because there's an argument against the statement Black Lives Matter. The statement Black Lives Matter came about with the death of Trayvon Martin and those killings during that time. And it was just to say that, hey, as a Black individual, we deserve to live. When we see all these killings that are taking place, and we even see the shooting of Jacob Blake, and we see Ahmaud Arbery, and we see George Floyd, and all the many that came before all of those that I just recently mentioned, it appears that there is a war against someone because of the color of their skin. What Black Lives Matter simply means is I just deserve to live too, despite the color of my skin.
Of your skin. What has been most encouraging in this season? What has been the thing that has been giving you life and a hope that there might be a better tomorrow?
What has been giving me life is I see that there have been protests all over the world in favor of this stance that Black Lives Matter. What's giving me hope is that there are people that are not African American, not Black, who are standing with us. It helps when you see that there are individuals who are starting to understand, oh, there really is an issue, and I should be fighting against whatever it is that is coming against individuals that are targeted. It gives me hope to see that people recognize the issues and are standing with each other to come together in unity and fight the issue of racism.
Will we ever be able to get to a place where, even if we don't understand it all, and even if we don't understand each other, come to a place of peace and care and love, where we understand, or we get to that place where we're working together for a common good?
I absolutely believe it's possible, but I know that will only happen when we have those types of conversations. I know that will only happen when those types of conversations begin with awareness and recognition of the issue. Until we can admit that there are things that are a problem, and there are things that need to be addressed. I don't think reconciliation can come until the issues are put out there, and until people recognize that they're issues, until they call the issues, until they stop pretending that the issues don't exist just because they aren't affected by them. When those issues can be recognized, I absolutely believe that we can come together in unity. And I've seen it. There have been so many allies that have rallied together with individuals that are Black to say, we're here, we're standing with you. And they're willing to stand in the place of being uncomfortable to do it. And that's another part of immersion.
Yes.
Being willing to be uncomfortable in that place of fighting for justice and for equality.
Chanique Davis, I want to thank you so very much for coming up. And as I said, you got to the forefront sort of locally in this particular engagement, this particular issue. I don't know if you thought it would happen, but we certainly appreciate your voice in this hour. And thank you for being our guest today on Lakeland Now in View. And I just want to remind you that next week we have Wes Barnett, a local businessman, as our guest on Lakeland Now in View. We hope you'll join us then. Till then, be safe. I'm Andrea Oliver for Lakeland Now in View.